On today's wrestling news, a major SummerSlam match had its time cut in half.
We've got a big Jacob Fatu injury update.
Britt Baker responds to her AEW suspension.
And a WWE Hall of Famer is teasing a major return.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the news. So, fresh on the heels of SummerSlam, the greatest show of the year, in my opinion. More on that on our SummerSlam review later on today. What Culture Wrestling Podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, and on YouTube,
What's
of course.
What's he going to think?
Yeah. If you liked it, great. If you didn't like it, that's also fine. Wrestling's subjective, guys. But a big match at SummerSlam had its time cut in half.
Yeah.
You can probably guess which one. It was the Intercontinental Championship.
It was the main
match
event.
Between Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. According to Fightful Select, that match went shorter than originally expected. It was allotted for 10 minutes, but they did everything they have to do because Braun Breaker killed Sami Zayn as the new IC champion, and everything's right in the world.
Didn't hear this.
No.
Rapid, I think 5:42 it
Something
came
like
out.
that, yeah.
And even then, when you're watching, you thought, well, Braun could have had him by now. Sammy's putting up quite the fight here. And I wouldn't have really wanted any more than what we got. It was quite polished. It was without any kind of major flaws or any moments where you had to worry that is Braun out there too long or anything like that. And it was ultimately a payoff to what we saw the prior month, where Braun had learned from experience of wrestling Sami once before that he knew he was too big and too fast and too mean and too tough for Sami Zayn, but Sami was able to
Just don't post yourself in the opening exchange.
Everybody else in that card did. Like Braun Breaker, what was it? It's like same wrestling getting dragged into the deep water.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to allow himself to do that this time around. So he actually felt genuinely he benefited from that time being
you could and you couldn't tell, couldn't you? Like in terms of you were like, well, that was quite short, but also it didn't feel like they were missing anything. No. Like Sami got in a few hope spots, and then Braun did what he was there to do. Won the IC title. I loved it. I thought it was great.
It's one of several developments I can't wait to dig deeper into.
I just wish someone had called the entire card correctly. Oh, we did. Honestly, I'm not going to get too much into it. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm biased because Queen Nia ascended her throne and he returned. I don't know if you're watching this and this is spoilers, but what are you doing? I genuinely think that's my favourite show of the year.
It was enormously eventful, wasn't it?
It was. I've seen the cage match. I don't like it, but.
Yeah, they like some right rubbish. I'm trying to stay balanced until we get into the.
I'm not
balanced. I loved it. I'm trying to sort of reserve some comments until we get into the review when we can irritate people even more. That'll be coming to the What Culture Wrestling Podcast YouTube channel later on, and we'll be doing it. We'll do it live, can we?
Yeah, we're doing it live, so you can comment and stuff like that.
Tell us how much you're raging with us.
Dominic Mysterio's a right wanker, isn't he?
I'm a right wanker, mate. Look, it wasn't the only development that match being cut at SummerSlam. There were developments in every single match. That's how you do a pay-per-view. But one was in the main event where.
Oh my God!
Where Jacob Fatu obviously made his presence felt. There was the WrestleMania Bloodline match formula where you had all the series of run-ins again that looked like Jacob Fatu was going to be the final death blow for Cody Rhodes until the return of Roman Reigns, our OTC. Jacob Fatu, for those that haven't seen it, or those that maybe only seen stills or whatever, does his big move through the table onto Cody from the post in the ring, and then tries to stand up, and his legs crumble beneath him like cream crackers, basically.
Yes. Didn't seem to stop him briefly.
No, he...
Come on, legs, get with it!
He had some saltine shins or something, but he tried anyway, and it was like, oh my God, he's all right. And then he himself, either selling his own intensity because he's just such an intense man, or furious with the situation, was just sat on the ground, screaming at Solo Sikoa to get Cody back in the ring and finish the job. That was what set the stage for Roman's return. And I suppose in the moment, watching live, or possibly even after the fact when you're kind of reflecting on what Roman was going to do, it did feel a bit off that Roman returned to a ring of bodies rather than maybe stopping Jacob or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, amidst much speculation and a photo that did the rounds over the weekend of Jacob Fatu in a boot. Following the show, I think him and Solo were spotted maybe in a store after the
drowning their sorrows, no doubt. I love the shot of him crying on the broken table.
Yeah, it's pretty great at the table. But again, to the point, in position, not really having moved from the moment. Corey Brennan from Fightful Select added to this that quote: "We are told Jacob Fatu was planned to sell his leg following the splash in the main event. We aren't told if it was to the extent of it." So he was in a walking boot after the show the following morning. And prior to that report, but well into Sunday, Swerve Strickland had just happened to tweet saying, "Heard the news, heal up Jacob." So maybe it was doing the rounds.
Yeah.
We talk about wrestler WhatsApps and stuff, don't we? Doing the rounds that maybe all wasn't well with Jacob. Triple H in the scrum said he was banged up, but at that point, obviously with it being so soon after the show, it's often hard to give a diagnosis. So I guess we'll find out a little bit more from what Fightful have added there about him. That was part of the plan, but to what extent we yet to find out. There was rumours that this was all after SummerSlam. There was rumours and a bit of speculation that maybe the Usos were supposed to run in to stop Jacob, and that was what led to the. But that's been like debunked. There was no plans to use Jimmy and Jay on Saturday, excuse me. So it's the extent to which Jacob had to sell his situation that I guess we'll wait and see.
Struggling a bit with Bloodline 2.0. There's 7 working legs between them, 7 working eyes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the less said about how that one good working eye can find a turnbuckle or not the best.
Yeah,
but,
you can't judge depth.
That's what it is. Depth perception, yeah.
Somewhere over here, I think.
I was watching live and I tweeted to this extent. I was like, is Jacob hurt or is he the greatest at everything? Because the selling of the rage, like, come on, get him in there and beat him up.
He's like
every bit of it.
Terrifying version of, is it Will Ferrell in Austin Powers? And he's like, I think one of my legs is broken. I'm going to stand on it anyway. Oh, yep, definitely broken.
Yeah, frightening stuff. But that's Jacob Fatu, frightening stuff.
Yeah, I think he threatened a doctor and they said, your leg's not broken. It's fine. We'll get you a new one. We'll get you a new one. You can have mine if you want, Jacob. It's fine. Really excited to see how they follow up on that in the coming days and weeks,
Indeed.
Obviously. Along with everything at SummerSlam.
How long has it been since we've had a Roman Reigns returns to SmackDown graphic? Drop that this week, please.
Oh, Jesus. It was quite loud, the response.
I would say so, yes. I would say so. New theme, there's so much to talk about. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
This feels like a plug for that. And you know what? I don't like it when, it's quite insidious if you ask me, when people click a video and then you drop in a plug.
Oh yeah, what are you doing?
And I just find it a bit...
Just get to the good stuff.
Distasteful.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, forget that. What are you doing, Dave All In? When
Dave All In, well, when I get to the show...
Yeah.
It'll probably be like, what, 4 p.m. start, so probably just before.
Not me, no. In fact, wait a minute. I'm going to the What Culture live show and you work at What Culture 2.
Good point.
Sorry, we'll just have to be a second here. The What Culture live show, because like, you can come because obviously we kind of need you for the show,
Definitely.
but there are tickets still available at whatculture.com/tickets.
Are there?
If you need to pass that
Not
on to
many,
friends,
from what I've heard.
No, it's the biggest live show we've ever done, in fact.
There's a biggest show on that week.
There's going to be nonsense like this. It's disgraceful, quite frankly. You can buy T-shirts and you can buy ups and downs.
Yeah.
It's why, because Simon Miller's going to be there as well. Sorry, really sorry about it. And then obviously you've got All In, and the best thing about it is the Crystal Club, which is just a 2-minute walk away from Wembley Stadium. I know.
So if we wanted, like, after the show finishes, after we've, I don't know, just off the top of my head doing some production notes, after we've done like a live show and an extended meet and greet, we could get ourselves a Cowboys and just all walk over to Wembo. And I say walk over, it would be like 3 steps, like, oh, we're at Wembley. There we go, that was easy.
Yeah. And then after the show...
Well, I was going to ask you what you're doing after the show.
What am I doing after the show? Sorry, guys. Well, I'll probably watch you and Miller do record your What We've Done Ups and Downs videos. It's some of the best videos we do. And then probably just join the big queue to get home.
That's where you're going wrong, mate.
Why?
Don't get a taxi. Don't get a packed tube.
Or a London Red Bus.
What you want to do, like moonwalk back, 3 steps back to the Crystal Club.
Yeah.
Because there's only a bloody club night on, isn't there? Sweet Chin Disco.
No way.
After party. There's an absolute legend that's going to be hosting it. Unfortunately, he pulled out, so they've got me to do it. And Max Casta and Prince Nana are going to be there. It's going to be awesome. Just search for Sweet Chin Disco. But genuinely, faster than you get What Culture tickets almost.
Yeah.
Get tickets for that because they are selling out super fast.
What we talked about, just I hate plugs disguised within videos and stuff. Like, we just keep it news-based, don't we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Britt Baker. A lot of talk about her suspension last week, the whole issue with her and MJF and Alicia are too, and she's broken her silence regarding it on Instagram. She simply posted a text thing on her Instagram story that read, "Friendly reminder that you have zero control over how people perceive you, so you might as well just be the person you want to be anyway." That's what I live by, Britt.
Yeah, bold this. We got a story up late, raced into the studio like the grubby little aggregators we are. As soon as Dave Meltzer broke the story, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal, really. Like, obviously, Britt Baker's suspension on television, we assumed was just 100% kayfabe, and Mercedes announcing it with her thanks to the Young Bucks for getting it done. We just, it made perfect sense within the story, and then you find out that it might be not just last week's Dynamite, but this week's one as well.
It does work, doesn't it? It's not like people are like, this is weird that she's not here.
No. It at least plays into the storyline they've got at the moment, but just the general vibe around what had occurred, and MJF and Britt Baker both being kind of AEW day oneers, and you just and with good reason. I guess you imagine a certain bond that exists after such a long period of time, and things can just happen. Came up last year a lot with the Punk stuff and the Kingston Sammy Guevara. Like, as much as you don't want, like, MJF punched a wall in the dressing room apparently, and it's all it's apparently all very unpleasant.
Oh, you told me that actually when we were talking last night. Yeah,
the stuff that creeps out is not the the stuff you want to hear, but not to excuse any of it, it's that supremely competitive sporting environment, isn't it? It's not. I understand why people would want to use
big time of year for them as well.
Yeah, like I get why people want to use you can't just walk into the office and punch your colleague. That is true. So you really need to stop doing that to me. But like in a sporting arena, it is different, isn't it? Like the temperatures boil over and certain things need to be managed with a certain nuance.
And yeah, to their credit, I mean, obviously they've got a fair bit of experience with it. It sounds like the way of dealing with it was pretty swift, because previously I think they've been kind of caught on their heels sometimes, and people have been critical of the way it's been handled. It was but by the sounds of it, from what I've heard, very sort of like, right, let's nip this in the bud almost, because obviously you don't want things to spiral from here.
And it's all happened ahead of All In to ensure that the people, like both MJF and Ospreay's match and the Britt Baker Mercedes Moné match, haven't been affected by it.
Yeah,
as well.
the good thing is
they
don't have to interact. It's not like they have to work together on telly for I don't want them to be having to be opposite sides of the locker room. So I'd like everyone to just get along, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, in terms of people can not get along, that's absolutely fine, but it helps if they don't have to then try and work on screen together.
Yeah, it would typically, historically, the tension would only ratchet up and you'd have another fight at the end of it. So look, if Britt Baker one of these days wants to shock the world and sign for WWE, she might have a significant main event waiting for her there as well, because we've got a Hall of Famer teasing another return to WWE. Trish Stratus is back in the conversation as making a possible comeback. She was speaking to Justin Brasso for the takedown on Sports Illustrated, and she said, quote, "Cody isn't the only one with an unfinished story. I love being back as a special guest in Toronto at Money in the Bank." Of course, that was just the other month. And who knows, if I can still go, I'll still keep going. I'll never half-ass it. If fans are interested and it can influence another generation, then we'll see. It's a great article, actually. It's worth going back and checking. She talks about her, obviously the time she came back in 2019 as a babyface against Charlotte Flair, thinking that was it, but then loving working as a heel. She'd wanted to work, I think it was, she'd pitched the idea of the cage match with Becky, but the way it was going to fall around stadium time, they couldn't, or she was told or something, they couldn't get their cage as part of the stadium setup. So instead it got that spot at Payback and stole the show, really.
Yeah, I think it was an iffy feud, and then they really nailed it at the end, didn't they?
They got the match right ultimately, and I think it was obviously her goal to try and give Zoe Starks the best leg up, which you can argue was how effective that was, but certainly Trish did her best within the confines of that story. So I think like I could see Trish Stratus yet again part of the WrestleMania conversation. The Royal Rumble now is a place where they've always in the women's division juggled like I'd say the legend spots better than the men's ones since the sort of the birth of the women's Royal Rumble. So I think she slots back in easily if she wants it.
Yeah, sport for choice. If you want to do title feuds, you've got two heel champions right now. I don't want to boo Trish anymore.
No.
So you could do that on a one-off thing. I don't think that would be the Mania match, but yeah, like you say, with all the stuff that goes on the road to WrestleMania, you could easily set something up. Maybe that is the retirement match. Maybe it is my career's on the line. But yeah, I got a lot of time for Trish. Especially because, she's done that thing where she's like, one more, actually another one. It's me and you with biscuits in the office, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I'll have one, and then that's it. Two more, and then I'm drawing a line under it.
That analogy is too painful and perfect, yeah.
But let us know in the comments, because she's really spoilt for choice in terms of who she could face. Like, you could run stuff back against these people she's faced previously. You could do something with Zoe Stark. But yeah, with the people they've got there now, like I mentioned, as champions, or some of the talent coming up from NXT, Tiffany Stratton's right there.
She was a coach on Tough Enough, and you wonder if she could offer that to NXT long term.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we're just line up work for her if she wants it. But and just really well liked Trish Stratus, like of that generation where even when she did come back for one-offs or something like that, it was just such a welcome return, because you felt like she was going to be one of the people undeservingly missing out on this great era for women's wrestling. So it's nice that she's been able to drop herself right back in the middle of it.
Yeah. Let us know which match would give you stratusfaction in the comments section below. Let us know your thoughts on all of today's news stories, and join us at the after news later on today. If you're thinking, what am I going to do until that drops? Well, I'll tell you what you're going to do. Watch this video right here and get your tickets, whatculture.com/tickets.